This is 𝘴𝘤𝘢𝘕𝘪𝘴, or a yam daisy. Unlike other species in this series, the roots of yam daisies are edible.
It's hard to describe.
Kind of like a potato.
I can't think of something like a Western vegetable that you could compare it to. It's sort of like a bit like a nutty potato, I suppose.
The term yam daisy refers to 3 different species, all of which have different sized roots and all are edible, although some may be more delectable than others. Here in Melbourne, the Wurundjeri people refer to the yam daisy as Murnong.
It was a large staple food for southern Aboriginal people and of incredible cultural importance.
Sadly, it is not known if Murnong refers to 𝘴𝘤𝘢𝘕𝘪𝘴, another species, or all 3 species of the yam daisy.
That's unfortunately knowledge that's been lost.
Today, 𝘴𝘤𝘢𝘕𝘪𝘴 clings on in only 3 known populations amongst the urbanising critically endangered grasslands surrounding Melbourne. Keeping this species alive requires ongoing management and translocation. For 30 years, the Merri Creek Management Committee, originally led by Brian Bainbridge and now Michael Longmore, have been trying to create self-sustaining populations through translocation of 𝘴𝘤𝘢𝘕𝘪𝘴, but their attempts had largely failed.
We planted 20 one year and we got 1. We planted 200 the next year and we got none surviving.
Plants were originally grown in tube stock, which is a common method for translocation. But it meant that the tubers hadn't properly developed to withstand the hot, dry summers and cracking clays.
So they might live for a year or so, flower quite well, but then nothing would emerge the following year.
During the millennial drought, we actually witnessed the disappearance of one of those populations. So we're worried about losing the whole species.
Brian and Michael both spent considerable time trying to learn how to grow the species, and it was only really by luck that they stumbled on a better approach.
Where they had survived, it was seed that had fallen from those plants. We got germinates, and then those germinates appeared to survive for a much more extended period of time. So that gave us a hint that direct sowing might be something worth pursuing.
As the plant grows from seed, the roots find the natural cracks in the heavy soil, and the tuber grows in the right place. But getting a plant to survive is only part of the process. It needs to reproduce and recruit.
Fire was incredibly important to the landscape in maintaining and managing the land. So after you burn an area, if there's Murnong there, you will find them popping up.
It also opens up space amongst the grass tussocks where seeds can fall and germinate.
There was cultural significance involved with the collecting of yam daisies, which was usually done by the women with their digging sticks. That disturbance of the soil and aerating the soil also helped to create space for regrowth and for more Murnong to grow.
Also, small mammals that used to exist in the landscape and would go around nosing through small areas, turning over small amounts of soil.
So when they brought in the sheep and the cows, which trod down all the ground and made it very difficult for it to grow back because of the compacted soils.
What the team discovered is what Wurundjeri had known for thousands of generations. 𝘴𝘤𝘢𝘕𝘪𝘴 relies on fire and soil disturbance, or digging, to promote germination and growth of new tubers.
We hadn't spent the time listening to find out what was needed.
Brian knows that historically, Merri Creek Conservation Committee and Wurundjeri weren't always working on the same timelines and with the same objectives.
Our organisation, we had particular goals we wanted to get out, and we need to align those to get the richness of what happened. And when we did get things aligned, when we have had things aligned, we've had so much come back to us as well.
Today, the Merri Creek Management Committee, Friends of Merri Creek and 𝘴𝘤𝘢𝘳𝘪𝘴 are working together to conserve the species and the grasslands.
In combination with Western science and traditional knowledge, using that combined knowledge is to get the best benefits for the environment, for Aboriginal people, for everyone really.
Wurundjeri are also in collaboration with Joe's Market Garden in Melbourne and have taken initial steps for cultural production of the species.
We're growing Murnong up there to increase seed stock and help revive the plant because it is endangered.
3 populations persist. They are not self-sustaining, but they are not going to go extinct. When traditional knowledge and Western science work in collaboration, the benefits are rich for the species and all involved.
I would encourage anyone that's working in areas that have an Indigenous aspect to it to contact their traditional owners and start a relationship.
While it hasn't been done the right way in the past, it is never too late to start. The Murnong story shows us this.